In today's sports roundup, and the king of clay Rafael Nadal is through to the last 16 of the Monte Carlo Masters after easing past Kavashvili. After trading breaks in the first set, the 58th-ranked Russian was proving more than a match for the world #1. But top seed Nadal eventually took command to claim the opener 6-4. Aiming to hit his stride ahead of the defence of his French Open crown next month, there was then no looking back for the 27-year-old, winning all the break points that came his way to wrap up the second set 6-1 and took a place in the next round. A straight sets win for the Spaniard, and in the end a straightforward task. Meanwhile, Roger Federer made his return to Monte Carlo in some style after brushing aside Radek Stepanek. It's been 3 years since Federer last graced this tournament, but dropping just 3 games en route to a straight sets victory, it looked as though he'd hardly been away. After taking the first set 6-2, the world #4 made even lighter work of his Czech opponent by claiming the second 6-1, seeing 14 winners to begin his clay court campaign in brutal fashion. The prosecution in the Oscar Pistorius murder trial hasn't let up in its scrutiny following the conclusion of the Paralympian's cross-examination. The South African denies intentionally killing girlfriend Reeva Steenkamp last year and faced 5 days of gruelling interrogation. The defence case continued on Wednesday, with forensic expert Roger Dixon facing prosecutor Harry Nell.
You know, I'm going to be rude because you don't listen. The question was, is he an expert?
Mr. Nell.
Yes, my lady.
Please restrain yourself.
I will, my lady.
The trial will now resume on May the 5th, after the court accepted a request for proceedings to be postponed. Pistorius maintained he mistook Steenkamp for an intruder when he shot her dead, but if found guilty of premeditated murder, could face 25 years in prison. A man has been arrested in a suspected bomb hoax after 2 backpacks had to be destroyed close to the finish line of the Boston Marathon. Police detained a 25-year-old man on Tuesday night, soon after thousands gathered for the first anniversary of last year's bombings, which killed 3 and left around 260 injured. The suspect is reported to have ran barefoot to the finish line while shouting "Boston Strong" before dropping a backpack in front of police. The package was believed to have concealed a rice cooker containing confetti and was destroyed by a controlled detonation, as was another bag holding photography equipment that was found nearby. It's another haunting memory for those affected by the tragedy of 12 months ago. Monday's marathon will still go ahead though, but under the watchful eye of heightened security. Over to football, and with their finances already under heavy scrutiny by UEFA this week, it won't be welcome news to Manchester City that their team is the best paid in the sporting world. Since 2009, City have been owned by Sheikh Mansour and have spent a vast amount of money on talent. And a survey released this week shows average first-team pay at the club calculated at £5.3 million per year, or around £103,000 per week. Not far behind City are 2 of baseball's biggest franchises. The New York Yankees have just 1 World Series championship to their name in the last 10 years, but still spend more than £5.2 million on wages. The LA Dodgers are even less successful, but are third in the report, with an average weekly pay of £98,000. The most generous employees in the NFL are the Minnesota Vikings, who rank as low as 115 in the survey, thanks to American football's salary cap. Finally to the NBA, and Blake Griffin and the LA Clippers made history with a win over the Denver Nuggets on Tuesday. It took them to a franchise record of 57 victories in a season. Griffin led the way early on before Chris Paul chipped in with this maximum. But in the 4th, the gap was just 5 points as Quincy Miller scored for 2. The Clippers didn't look back though, Darren Collison calming the nerves for the home fans. LA went on to complete their record win in style. A fine passing move found DeAndre Jordan free at the basket to dunk. He ended the night with another double-double. The Clippers comfortably winning by 12 points in their final home game of the regular season. In the only other game of the night, the New York Knicks blew away the Brooklyn Nets to dent their rivals' confidence ahead of the playoffs.